Well, that was Gene Oliver. Gene is our talented um, alto sax player here in the Clark Band, and that was Friday night, the 21st, and it was at the Stevie Ray's Blues Bar in downtown Louisville, where we're a charity band, a group of musicians who play for charity. We're mostly hospital employees. We were raising money for an AED machine, and Gene is the director of food and nutrition here at the hospital, one of the founding members of the Clark Band. My name's Joe Bradley. I play trumpet for the band, and I'm also the chaplain here, where I've been for the last 15 years. I want to thank you for watching the second podcast. The first one I did was a comparison of the healthcare of Sweden to that of the United States. This podcast is a summary of an interview. You can tell I'm in a hospital overhead. This one is a summary of an interview I had with one of my colleagues, Pam Popp, from our care coordination department. And this podcast is being produced in fulfillment of a course at Indiana University Southeast, the Sociology of Health and Illness. I'm in the Graduate School of Interdisciplinary Studies with an emphasis on health and humanities. My interview took place this past Monday, April 24th, in my office with Pam Popp, as I say, from Care Coordination, also known as case managers. They do the important work of discharge planning. They meet with patients and families about their needs. They meet with doctors and other staff about helping the patient transition from the hospital into either home health or just home with no necessary equipment or anything. Sometimes they go to a rehab facility for some physical therapy, other types of therapy before they go home, sometimes assisted living, sometimes long-term care, sometimes long-term acute care, and sometimes care coordinators, along with me, the chaplain, are involved with end-of-life care transitions, including palliative care and hospice. I've worked with Pam for many years here at Clark. She did her training at the University of Evansville with the Bachelor of Science in Nursing and a certificate in gerontology. She went to work right away for U of L trauma unit, a very intensive unit there where she saw everything, stabbings, shootings. It's a level 1 trauma center. I don't blame her for only lasting 6 months. Then she went to Baptist Floyd for the next 21 years. And there she taught CNA classes. She worked on a geriatric unit. She was on the mom and baby unit, labor and delivery, for 11 years before becoming a case manager. And she worked after that for Hospice of Southern Indiana. I like to call it the Hospice of Sin, for 3 years. And then she was followed that with a 5-year term here at Clark as a med-surg nurse. Then she went to work for Amedisys Hospice for 2 years, and eventually back to here to Clark Memorial in care coordination, where she's been for the past 7 years. She told me her most memorable experience was at U of L working with her first AIDS patient. And her most memorable experience working with other team members was with a now retired pulmonologist, Dr. Chamberlain, in the ICU with a lot of family meetings and conversations on end-of-life care with families. Also, let's see, her experience with insurance companies had been mostly positive until the last few years with the advent of Medicare replacement policies. These policies are marketed heavily to people of my age, people nearing retirement. They make many promises, but then they become very restrictive once they're purchased. And many of these policies are not accepted with home health agencies, are not accepted with many rehab facilities. They make a lot of promises, but they don't deliver. And so we discourage people from purchasing these policies, although they're marketed quite heavily. These issues that Pam has dealt with throughout her career do coincide with the readings for the course on the sociology of health and illness. In particular, an article by Susan Reverby, A Caring Dilemma, Womanhood and Nursing in Historical Perspective, is one that came to mind when I reflected on Pam's career. She is such a professional and she does her job quite skillfully, but she also does it naturally. In fact, she has told me how she cared for her mother before she died for several years. And this article emphasized the struggle the nursing profession has had to endure to overcome the assumption of their caring for the sake of duty, as opposed to the professional nature of being a hospital or a hospice nurse. Pam has also witnessed many patients who come and go through the healthcare system who fall through the cracks of not having insurance coverage, either because of their social economic status or other reasons for not having access to health insurance. And we also learned during the class in the last few weeks that this would not have happened in any other developed nation other than the United States. I want to thank you again for watching this podcast. And I'd like to say, if you ever get a chance to meet a caseworker in a hospital, thank them for all they do. Blessings to you and your loved ones.